Amazon Music, all over London. The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Amazon Music has covered London and other European capitals with advertising for the company's Best of 2022 podcasts. In London, ads will be appearing for the next 2 weeks, promoting 10 of the top podcasters. The company also carried audio ads within the Wondery network for chosen podcasts and produced social media assets. We've more examples of the projections in London and the ads in Paris in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Spotify is reportedly telling its employees that they can't go to conferences. They must have no off-site meetings and that all non-essential travel will be reduced. The Swedish tech website Breakit also says office space will be cut and some offices will see an end to meals. Osha tells Podnews the podcast hosting company now has more than 10,700 podcasts on the platform and achieved 167 million downloads in 2022. The New Zealand Podcast Awards announced the 2022 winners. The podcast of the year was The Commune from Stuff. RNZ won the most awards, gaining 13. Female-focused podcast network Mamma Mia is to join the Australian podcast ranker. The ABC, the country's largest podcast publisher, is still unmeasured by the ranker, though. The winners of the Asian Podcast Awards were announced. Almost all are in English, and we list them in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. And we have so far carried 1,637 press releases. And we thought it would be interesting to see what would happen if we drew the location of every press release on a map. And we have. The UK isn't as London-focused as we thought it was. There's an unsurprising pull to Los Angeles and New York. And sorry, Melbourne, but you're being beaten by Sydney. Again. In People News, Callum Clark is the new head of podcasts for UK and Ireland at Apple. He joins from Sony Music Entertainment and Global. It's a Monday, so time for some tech stuff. Podlove, PodCloud and Casterpod have joined Transistor in supporting OP3, the open analytics service. Pod Indexer is an R package providing a tidy interface to the Podcast Index Database API. If you fancy that, the Livewire Validator now also validates the new Podcast TXT tag, which is used to validate shows. And John Spurlock has discovered a bug with the Opera browser's RSS feed reader, which could be leading to inflated download figures. And in podcast news, the latest episode of Built to Sell Radio has advertised casts Trevor Smithlin and Dave Hanley talking about their acquisition by Libsyn. It includes, quotes, a crafty negotiation tactic to increase an acquirer's offer. The team from Wonder is Morbid are launching Frozen Head today, a twisted tale that investigates the quest for eternal life and the lengths people will go to achieve it. It debuts today on Wondery Plus and will be available everywhere from January the 23rd. Normalise This is new today from Spring Hill. Figure skating champion Adam Rippon and media personality Danielle Young unpack different trends, behaviours and stigmas and discuss whether or not they should be normalised in our everyday lives. The first episode looks at dating apps. And 1 Minute Podcast Tips is new from Danny Brown today and does exactly what it says on the tin. Short, punchy tips in a minute or less to help you be a better podcaster. Recording, editing, publishing, sharing, growing, networking and more are covered in the snack-sized episodes. And that's the latest from our daily newsletter. To read all the stories, see all of those beautiful Amazon posters and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.